And we are live. What a disappointing draw, to say the least. I think the first thing I'd like to talk about is the referee, Marcus D. Alvaria. I apologize if I messed up your last name, but it was absolutely awful today. I'd say, you got the red card right in the 21st minute for sure. Started out with the early yellow card for Dabasi. But there were plenty of challenges from Sporting Kansas City in the first half that were very reckless, very late. A lot of unnecessary late challenges that rightfully so deserved a yellow and were not actually taken action on. There were plenty of missed calls, and in about 30 minutes, maybe even less, the ref loses absolute control of the game by not cautioning players early. It was the first 30 minutes at least he lost control, and it was very poor refereeing for that. About after the 25th minute, he missed a couple cards, and it was the amount of time wasting after the 21st minute after the red card. They only added 3 minutes in the first half and 5 minutes at the end of the game, when every opportunity the Kansas City players had, they'd waste at least 30 seconds to a minute. Every goal kick was about a minute and a half, and it was constant. And the way the fourth official or it was, you could have added at least 8 or 9 at the end of the second, at the end of the game, because the amount of time wasted was absolutely abysmal, and not to mention the missed calls, and it was poor. But at the end of the day, we are desperate for a goal scorer. Robin Lloyd being out of the team is absolutely detrimental. We have no goals in us. I want to keep my hopes up for Adrian Hanu, but he has not been good at all. He has been poor, and he has not looked very good at all. And it doesn't help when Juan Agudelo comes off the bench and he looks so much more lively than Hanu. He links up with build-up play, I think, a lot more. I mean, to be fair, he's just coming off the bench usually late in the game, so he should be looking lively. But I'm starting to question if Hanu is athletic and strong enough to compete in the MLS. He seems to go over quite easily, which a lot of times he is fouled, and he should, rightfully so, should be going over. But I don't think he has the required strength to do certain things that we need in a forward or a striker. I think he tries playing in a bit too behind the back line. He tries getting in behind too much, when I don't think he has the pace to beat a lot of these defenders or center backs. And a lot of times he gets beaten to the ball, or a lot of times he's playing that line and he's offsides. And I think a lot of times he's offsides because he can't beat a lot of these guys in a foot race. And I really hope the goal scoring drought turns around completely, but it's been quite frustrating to go into a game and the team plays so well, getting chances here, there, everywhere. Maybe not the best quality or quantity of chances, but we get quite a few chances that are we had two today where we should have scored. Juan Aguadello had Amelia had a good save on him, and Hanu had two really good opportunities where he's got to put at least one of them in the net. He needs to be more clinical. Boxall missed a good opportunity because Reynoso was outstanding again today, pulling the strings in the midfield and attack, but that we just can't get that last goal. And it's been quite the theme for the whole year. We do everything up until the last pass or the last shot very well, and we just need to get goals. We need to figure something out, and Roman Abela, I don't think was going to be the option, but letting him go when we are desperate for goals is worrying. I don't think it was going to work out anyway, so it's not too big of a deal, but we got to find goals somewhere. We got to find them quick and fast. With Lod injured, without Robin Lod, we don't look like we're going to score. But we played all right, like I said. A little bit different faces because of the injuries, and I'd say we got to take this a little bit with a pinch of salt because of how many injuries we have gotten. But another disappointing draw. 2 back-to-back games going up a man and only scoring 1 goal and coming away with 2 draws against a team in San Jose who is fighting to get in the playoff spot right on our tail, and a team ahead of us that we're trying to catch in Sporting Kansas City, or at least get some big points off of. We need to start winning games. The draws are not going to cut it if we want to have a home playoff game, but we need to find goals and goals quickly. So other than that, I thought Sporting Kansas City, credit to them. After they went down a man, they did what they had to do, but not quite the fan of the dark arts of the game, of time wasting and all that mumbo jumbo. That looks like Peter Vermees got down to a pin and needle down there, because that was it was bad. I wanted to watch a soccer game, but about 15-20 minutes we were just watching Sporting Kansas City look at a ball or lay on the ground. So absolute poor performance from Marcos de Oliveira. Poor ref, and should be reallocated to USL. It was just a poor performance, but gain a point and we move back up into 5th. I'll get into the player ratings, and I think we'll call that a day. Got 3 away games coming up, so little bit of a break until the next home game, so we need to pick up some away points for sure. Let's start with Tyler Miller. Didn't have too much to do. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10 though. Clean sheet. It's good to get. Chase Gasper, I thought played well. I'm going to give him a 7.5. Montier, a 7.5. Boxall, 7.5. Dabasi, a 7. Thought it wasn't Basi's best game, even though I think the back line did fine. There wasn't too much to do. But we were lucky not to concede, because Sporting Kansas City had an absolute sitter that they messed up, and they should have probably got a goal there. A little bit of Boxall, Dabasi, miscommunication. Yeah, but I can't give too high credit because this feels like a loss. I'm going to be honest. We needed to win this one. Will Trapp and Ozzy Alonso looked really good in the midfield in the first half, and then second half was a bit different. But I'm going to give Will and Ozzy both I'm going to give Ozzy an 8 and Will Trapp a 7.5. Actually, I'm going to give Will Trapp an 8 and Hassani Dotson a 7.5. Yeah, I thought the midfield played pretty well. Reynoso is my man of the match for sure. I'm going to give him an 8.5 out of 10. He was by far our best player on the field, pulling the strings, doing everything. Ethan Finley worked his tail off again today. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. Played well. Adrian Hanu, I'm going to give a 5. I thought he was not very good today, but I hope that turns around, please. I believe in him, and I'm going to support him up until his last days of the Loon, but hopefully that's not for a while and he can score some goals for us. Juan Aguadello, I thought looked good off the bench. I'm going to give him a 7.5 out of 10. Patrick Weah came on in the 79th minute, and I think he played all right. I'm not quite sure if this is his first home game appearance, but I know it's not his first appearance. He's made a couple for us. Patrick Weah played well for his little cameo, I thought. I'm going to give him a 7.5. And Justin McMaster's coming in the 94 plus for Ray. McMaster's get a 7. Ran around for a couple minutes, but I'm going to give him a 6 just for that. I don't even know if it's fair to give him a 6, but I think I'm going to do that. Yeah, I'll give him a 7 just because he didn't have time to really make an impact on the game. Don't want to give him a bad score just for being that late sub. So disappointing draw nonetheless, but we got to start getting some goals and 3 points instead of 1 if we want to even be in the playoffs, because right now teams are catching us and they're catching us fast, and our goal differential is below 0. So a lot of teams, if they catch us and tie us in points, they're going to pass us with that tiebreaker. But as always, thanks for tuning in, and as always, come on, you Loons.